Welcome to Out Loud, everyone. This is new for us. We're doing like mini chats, mini convos. And the very first one, we are all the way over in Melbourne, Australia. 15-hour difference here. We're making it work with Mr. Tom Nethersole, who's got new music and who has had a banner 2023. Tom, welcome to Out Loud.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So we've talked a little bit before and off screen, and I've been, telling you about how much I love your music. And 2023 was a huge year for you. You had your debut single with Build-A-Bear, which is a gorgeous song. It is one part, I don't even know, it's one part lullaby. It's one part just incredible balladly kind of pop song, but it's just wrapped up in so much. There's emotion. It's so much that's in there. And what a fantastic debut. So to go through the year, you've had 4 singles in 2023. You started with Build-A-Bear and you ended with Kamikaze Man. Very different ends of the spectrum. And now you're back with Baby I'm Sorry, that is just coming out on January 19th. How are you feeling about the year and everything else that's kind of come along?
If I'm being honest, I feel like I haven't really reflected on 2023 yet. And I constantly have these big moments or these big performances. And then I'm like, okay, I'll think about that in the future. Like I'll sit down one day and think about it and process it. But I just continue to keep working on the next thing. So yeah, I feel like it's moments like this when I guess you bring up how many releases I've had in the year, or talk about specifically like that. I'm like, oh yeah, that was really beautiful and a really, really cool thing that I got to experience.
It is, and I mean, it's hard when you have a debut, and there's a lot of pressure. I'm sure that you put on yourself, and or anxiety. It's like, will people like it? Won't they like it? Will it fly? And just reading some of the comments online, people really took to not just the first single, but all of them. So you've gained a pretty snappy following along the way. So kudos to you on that, because I know that there's a lot of artists out there who struggle with that, who and to before getting into the depths too much about the music that you make, it's just nice to be able to see an artist kind of come along and feel like I've gotten out there now. Okay, what do I do? There's a lot of challenges that artists face, especially when they're the DIY artist. So congratulations on all of that.
Appreciate it. That's so sweet of you.
So let's talk the new song first of all. Baby I'm Sorry. Very fast. It's a short song, and I would say it's a bit of a cautionary tale in terms of relationships and maybe yourself, and how you feel about them and how maybe other people feel about you in them. Tell us a little bit about the song, where it kind of came from, and yeah, tell us all about it.
I mean, the song really came about because I just was singing these little melodies around the house, and then I just liked the and the way that it kind of flips into a head voice on that bit, and it just seemed very comfortable to sing. It just seemed very upbeat. I just got so excited when I first sang it, and yeah, it just kind of flowed out of me from there. But yeah, I've really enjoyed making this song and performing it. It's just such a fun one. I feel like I'm someone who doesn't feel very confident and secure and stable. So this song is definitely one that makes me just feel like that person and feels so confident and sure of themselves. It's one that I put on when I'm getting ready for a party or on the way to an event and stuff.
It is like that chorus, that Baby I'm Sorry over and over. It is an earworm like no one's business, because it gets in there, and that melody, that hook, that really carries that whole song. Like I said, it's a short song. It's not a 4-minute song. It's just under 2.
Mhm.
I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like a minute and a half or 2 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like, it's not tortured. Basically, this is the, and if you listen to the lyrics, if you listen to the lyrics and you kind of think about it, there's a whole story in there in a very short amount of time, and it's pretty cool. And it's nice to see you take a little bit of, I don't think it's risk so much as it, but again, and we talked a little bit about this, the world tells us that this is the way things are kind of supposed to go, or how things are supposed to be rolled out, and you just decided to just kind of let it go and roll it out. All it needed was this, and that's fine. And that's awesome. With that, though, I will say, what will come with this? Do you have plans to do more with this song? Like, do you think this song outside of the first release will have like remixes and I think because I can hear it, and I'm curious if you thought about that.
Well, I hadn't really. Well, I kind of thought about it because I was like, this is only like a minute and a half. I wonder if like I should do like a re-release or if like people will want to like yeah DJs will want to remix this and create like a longer version, have their own verse and stuff. But I was like no, like I'm really confident and set on like this is how long I want the song to be. This is you know this is how concise it needs to be and like this has got the message out. But then when I started posting like promo for this song, so many like people and like musician friends of mine started messaging me and being like, I need the stems of this. Like I want to do a remix. I want to do this. So yeah,
The
maybe.
sample ability of the chorus is insane because just that baby I'm sorry and with your voice, which is awesome, and just that melody, that click melody that kind of comes through it, it's like you can hear it. I could hear it. I'm like, oh my God, people are gonna remix the heck out of this. And rightfully so, because when you, I mean, it comes along. If you have lightning in a bottle, you may as well let it run wild, right? And I'm just curious, like, did you even think when you had that melody and you said you were kind of wandering around the house and constantly having in your head and that, did you think it would be as, and I guess this is, I'm saying this before the song is even released. I'm kind of now manifesting that it's going to be like people are just going to be just gravitate towards this song. And I think that they will because the moment that they hear it. Do you think that that is something that you had in your head or you knew about it when you were kind of writing it?
I mean, I hope that's the reaction. But yeah, I think every time that like I would show it to someone or even Alex Gala who mixed and mastered the song, like when he sends it back, like the final master, he was like, this tune has been in my head like on repeat. Like every time I step away from my desk, like it's just like running through my head. And I was like, oh, well, that's a really good sign. And he was like, I'm not sick of it. So like that's a very good testament to the song. So I was like, oh, thank you so
It's
much.
it's a total earworm. Like it totally gets in there and gets stuck. And it's like sometimes people will write a melody and they have no clue that they've written something that's going to just be that just people will take to it and just, you know, grab hold of it. And I think that's what
Mhm.
you have. Now, some people do, and they realize, you know, through the process, they're like, "Oh my God, this is something that I didn't even realize I was doing this, but I now kind of notice it." So I was just curious about that. We
Well,
talked.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
Well, yeah, I feel like some people will find out that they have like a melody that's like really catchy or is a bit of an earworm, but I feel like sometimes it gets like exploited a little bit or they like use it so much or when it's spread out through like a 4 minute song like we were talking about, it can become very repetitive and very annoying. Or even though some melodies are very catchy and they get stuck in your head, I feel like sometimes there's like a little bit irritating. I don't know if you feel the same, but yeah, I feel like there's some melodies that just work
Yeah,
and
I
don't.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I think that that's probably what it, when I say it's a short song, I think that the reason it's okay to be a short song, because sometimes you get a song and it's short, it's like, oh, I just wanted a little bit more of it. But I
Mhm.
do think that it's the right length. Even if it was a little bit longer, wouldn't make that much of a difference. But I think that it was smart to let it live in its own kind of space and entity without trying to torture it and make it too long. Because you're right, you could get to a point where that melody gets a little bit like, okay, we're done with it now. But in
Mhm.
the snapshot of a song that you do have, like again, I say it tells a story and the melody is in there, it gets right into your head, and then the song ends and like you're humming it for hours
Mhm.
afterwards and it's in there and I'm like that's smart, that's like that is whether or not that you planned it, whatever how it came about is a good thing.
Well,
uh,
I guess the song is also. Oh, sorry,
no,
I keep interrupting you.
you go
I
ahead.
guess. I guess the song is all about like this enticing energy and this, push and pull with someone. So I feel like having this melody that you're saying like is really, an earworm and so catchy to have, it be so contagious, I guess, and then cut the song off is a bit, I guess it reflects that feeling of, being so encapsulate, like so enthralled with someone and then just having like them turn off their feelings or, just that kind of experience.
There's a definite seduction with it for sure. The moment that you hear it, you're drawn to it, and then it grabs hold of you and it kind of has you stay put. And like I
Oh.
said, if you're following along and you listen to the lyrics, it makes sense. And it kind of becomes this song that has a few different ways that you can interpret the storyline that's through it, which is really cagey, and I really like that. Because there's, like I said, it's a bit of a cautionary tale, but it could be like, you're sorry for you, but you're sorry for you, and there's different reasons why. There's regret, but there's also kind of like, it's too bad, kind of. But it's interesting. It plays from both. If in a relationship, it can play from both people in the relationship. You can see it in both ways, if
Mm.
that's fair to say.
Yeah, I hadn't like thought of it like that. I guess I'd seen like, oh, it could be interpreted in different ways, but like I know the way that I like sing it and perform it and how I feel. But
Mm.
yeah, I hadn't thought about the fact that it's it can be from both perspectives of
I
this
think
like.
somebody could listen to it and could be like, I'm in one seat in the relationship, but the other
Mhm.
person could listen to it and also take away from it. And I think that it's a well, I think it speaks to probably your writing skills when it comes to music, which we have to talk about, because as I mentioned to you off camera, as they say in the biz, uh you are not afraid to just let the music kind of evolve and come out of you. And when you go through the first four singles, like I said, Build a Bear started in one, it was one kind of theme and an emotion. Kamikaze Man is a completely different. I love it because Kamikaze Man is a fantastic song. But they all four of the releases that you had out were absolutely in their own entity, and showed the versatility, I think, of you as an artist. That again, you're not gonna stay in one lane of pop music. The melody that's crafted that kind of flows through the music, you're not afraid to make quick changes or change in different directions without it, you know, hurting the song in any way. But all of a sudden, the change up takes you emotionally in new places. And added to that, this voice that you have, and I know that you have a bit of a background in music theater, I believe. Um, you, I think, know, and at a young age, and not to say that you're that young, but I mean, I think that you really are a little bit of a daredevil with your emotions, that you're laying down in the music. I don't know if you feel that, but it kind of comes off that way for me, that you're out there and you're not trying to hide it. And at the same time, you're not afraid to be vulnerable. You're not afraid to expose what it is that you're feeling. And it really is magic when it comes out through the melody.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. I've never been called a daredevil before, so that's very sweet of you.
When you're writing and when you're sitting down, is it melody first?
It kind of changes every time, and I think for a lot of musicians who I've talked to, it's very similar where it's like you either start out like at the piano and just like playing around with some chords, or you have some lyrics in mind. Or sometimes I've like fleshed out this whole thing in production and just don't have any, lyrics or melodies for it yet. And sometimes like I'll keep it in the vault for a while and won't touch it, or sometimes I'll even like send it to other friends being like, if you have anything for this, like let me know. Like you can use it, like whatever. But yeah, it's kind of different every time. I feel like melody is something that's like very important to me, and I think being like honest with songwriting is also something that I guess I just like really enjoy. I used to do like lots of like short films and writing and like stuff like that. So I just like really enjoy like crafting stories and stuff, even like if it's based on my life or whether it's like this conceptual kind of stuff like in Kamikaze Man. I just really like creating stories and creating, this kind of story arc. So yeah, it's fun.
You
Mm.
mentioned that you really like performing and you really like performing the new song. What's
Mhm.
been happening performance wise? Because I've seen images and I've seen some video of you out there and doing some different performances. Where have you been getting around to? And are you looking at Pride? See, Pride season, international Pride is June, but in Australia, it's very different. So I'm curious about Prides for you. And have you been at any? Have you been had a chance to perform at any? And are you looking to?
Um, in the past in my hometown, I've performed at the queer events that were going on there and like the out in the open festivals and the like Ida Hobbit Day. I'm not sure if you guys have the Ida Hobbit Day in Canada. Yeah. I performed at like these queer festivals in my hometown, and then coming to Melbourne, I've happy to give an exclusive to you that I'm going to be performing at Victoria Pride in February. So that feels really exciting. In 2024, I've been kind of had the intention of wanting to build my presence and kind of community in Melbourne. Yeah, just build my like artist presence as a queer person and as a queer artist in Melbourne. So I feel like that's going to be a really exciting thing.
I think that's awesome. First of all, it's challenging, and I have this. It seems to be North America that is challenged a little bit more with it than the rest of the world, where our Pride stages live music has kind of become a very minor part of it. And I know that in Australia, it's not the case, that there's a lot of live music on stages and a lot of live music venues. So it's nice to see that, because I think that, especially for young people, Pride is one of the first times that they get a chance to get out there and be in part of the community. And I think it's really important for young people to be able to hear themselves reflected in the music of their community, people who understand their stories. And where you're young yourself, I just know that, there's young people out there who probably are just literally gagging for you, because they, and there's some. Kaya Mercedes is in Australia, very, very young. There's a lot of young people coming out of Australia who just basically have strapped on, the boots and said, no, I'm going to do it my way, and I'm not going to, hide myself, and I'm going to come out, and I'm really going to be proud. And I think that there's a lot happening in your area that's really exciting. So I'm glad that you're going to be on a Pride stage.
I'm
That
excited
being
to.
said, are you looking to, and I guess maybe it's too soon to even think about this, because I know that you're going to do a live performance for the release of the song,
My first
with
ever.
a few other artists. But are you looking
Mhm.
at doing a lot of performances, or trying to get out there and performing around the entire country, or are you sticking to kind of an area? Because I know it's hard. I mean, you got to travel and stuff. So
And I think also like Australia is so big and don't have like a massive team around me yet. But yeah, I feel like that could also make it really easy to travel. But yeah, right now I really want to be focusing on performing in Melbourne and building my community here, as I was saying. But one of my goals for 2024 is to perform interstate and, cross that boundary and that threshold of, performing interstate and just just having that experience and working with people from another state and building those connections as well. I feel like that'll be really beneficial to then national and then international.
it's a
Yeah.
good goal. It's a good goal. I think that you will be an instant, favorite of a lot of folks. For you, what is 2024? What are you hoping for it? What are you, do you want to walk away with in 2024? And for 2023 releases, this is the first 2024 release. That's five. I'm counting. Are we headed towards an EP? Are we headed towards an album? Are you thinking along those lines? You're like,
Sorry,
stop asking these
my
questions. I
manager's
don't want to
gone.
say.
Um, yeah, I'm looking to release something mid to late this year. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for that, and I feel like I've always like really enjoyed writing sad songs and like I guess like you're saying, like having that like honesty or that vulnerability. I feel like being that sad boy and getting in my feels has been something that I like find really, I guess, therapeutic, and it's easier for me than writing something happy, which is maybe something deeper. But yeah, I'm excited to release songs that really delve into that. And I think based on things like Kamikaze Man and Meant to Be Alone and those kind of sad songs, uh, I feel pretty confident that they'll be received well. And yeah, I'm excited for them to actually be out and for them to not just be, performed at these things.
I'm excited for you, because I think they will. I think they'll be very well. I mean, everything so far has been quite well received. And I think that everything coming up will probably be just as well received. And I think that this song too is going to, if I again me manifesting, if I had to say it, I do think it will be something that that will help you gain new followers, new audiences. I think it will kind of break through some of that noise that's out there because it's such an earworm and because it's such a catchy, quick tune. I think it will break
Mhm.
through some of that noise that people will respond really, really well to it, and you will find some new like a new throws of actual followers and stuff. So it'll be interesting to kind of watch and see as you become so big. Then we can't get you on the horn to kind of come in and have a chat with us.
You'll just have to come over to Australia. That's what
I'll
will
just
happen.
have to. I'll just have
Have
to.
to.
They can. There's
I don't read the
drugs for
rules.
that. There's drugs. I can just take the drugs
Definitely.
and just sleep. Um, what with what's everything that's kind of coming next? Have you looked at collaborating? And I don't know what the queer music community is like in terms of getting to know one another in Australia. Have you come into contact with many other artists, or have you looked at that in terms of collaborations?
Yeah, I feel like especially even through like things like TikTok and stuff, like I've had like such, created such nice relationships with people who are like interstate, and then, when their muso friends, come to Melbourne, they're like, oh, you've got to do like a writing session with Thomas. It feels very like collaborative in this little pool of like really helping each other out. But yeah, in terms of collaborating on music with someone, I'd really love to do like a duet sometime soon, and yeah, release something like that, even if it's like a re-release of an old song, and them having their own verse or something on it. I'd
Yeah.
really like to have, that kind of duality, or those two voices that kind of complement each other. I feel like that'd be something really special.
Anybody in particular you would like to do that with?
Well, Cinta, who is a Melbourne artist who's just released her debut single, she's got this really, really unique voice, and I feel like I would love to. Um, I feel like I'm spoiling something. Okay, this will come out after the headline show. Um, but at the headline show, we're doing like an alternative performance of Kamikaze Man, with a verse that she's written, and she just has such an incredible voice, and I think it suits the song so much. So yeah, I'm excited to maybe release like even a live version of Kamikaze Man with her in it. I think that would be really, really special. But yeah, apart from duets like that, I'd really like to work with more producers. I've been working with more like producers and songwriters recently. And as someone who like I feel like gets very, I don't know, just very insecure about like music and writing and stuff. Obviously, we all have like imposter syndrome and stuff like that. I think even though I feel that way, doing like stuff like writing sessions and stuff just makes me feel so much more confident. And yeah, I've really started to enjoy this like collaborative process of working with other people.
Well, I'm excited for that kind of stuff too. And I think that when an artists get together and they really truly understand, they work so well together, they can create like magic. And I think that, as insecure as you may be about different things at times, I think that you're going to have a whole lot of folks behind you in your corner rallying. Not just when this song comes out, but I think that they're already there. And I think they're just going to start to get louder and louder for you. So, um, brace yourself. I think that something big and something great is going to happen for you.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you.
Well, listen, this is awesome. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and chatting. Um, I'm going to play a snippet of the song on the way out so people can kind of get a chance to hear a little bit of it. This now just being January, should they be expecting another release like in a month or so? Anything you want to tease them with?
Um, let's just say that if you really like Baby I'm Sorry, then you might like the visuals that will accompany it very, very soon.
Ah, there you go. See, that's a nice, sweet little tease. Nothing
Thank you.
harmful about that. All right.
Nothing. It's not a cautionary tale.
Well, thank you so much. It was great kind of meeting you and getting a chance to chat. And I can't wait to see everything else that comes along.
Thank you so much, Kenny. I've had such a fun time. You're a
This has
very
been
good
awesome.
interviewer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Baby, I'm sorry for me. Baby, I'm sorry, don't leave. Maybe you won't ever see. Baby, I'm sorry for me. I'm not the one you fall in love with. Don't take your chances. I'm not romantic. I'm not the type you feel enough with. Whatever your stance.